Hey guys, and welcome back to Monka, where stupid shit ensues, but today I finished another season of anime, or I finished an anime, so I'm going to talk about it. And the anime that I finished was Sword Art Online 2, also kind of known as the second season of Sword Art Online, although technically they kind of divided it up, so I don't know if it really counts, but Sword Art Online 2 is what I watched. Now, Sword Art Online 2 is an adaptation of a light novel series by Rike Kawahara, and then adapted by Aniplex, I believe. If not, Hulu lies to me, so I don't fucking know, but it had its run originally in 2014, spanned about 24 episodes. Contained within those 24 episodes are 2 arcs, kind of like the first season. And the long and the short of my opinion on it is it kind of mirrors what my opinion of the first season of Sword Art Online, which is the first arc is really good, and then the second arc it really falls off. Now, I feel like in the second arc it isn't as hard of a fall off this time around, but still isn't as good as the first arc, at least. And honestly, the entirety of the second arc is just filler content and doesn't really feel like it contributes a whole lot to the end, like, plot or anything. The first arc is really good, but the second one is not as good, but I'll get into that when we actually talk about plot lines. But first, we're going to start with the animation, which I kind of always like to start with animation and music, and honestly my opinions for both of them mirror my opinions for the first season. The animation is really well done, it looks really good. I have no complaints about it. There's no real like repeating of frames or anything. Everything is clean, smooth, it looks beautiful. The animation is great. It makes sense for the fact that it's a shorter seasoned anime, but it just looks good. Like, there's no complaints from me in terms of the animation. I really liked it. Music is pretty much exactly the same, except I feel kind of like the music is a bit weaker this time around compared to the first season. That being said, I still really like the music. It just, there aren't as many, as in my opinion, standout tracks in the second season, but it's still just as good as, like, it's good music either way. The soundtrack is really good. Voice acting is done really good as well. While we're on the topic of like sounds and all of that, I listened to the dub of Sword Art Online 2. All the voice actors from the first season that have recurring characters come back and do their voices again. It's all well and good in this season. I liked all the voice actors. I don't feel like they hurt the show in any way. They all did their part, and they're all great voice actors, honestly. I can't complain about the voice actors because they're all just really good, in my opinion. Now, getting down to the nitty-gritty is the story, which is pretty much the biggest part of Sword Art. Unfortunately, I feel kind of the same way about the story of Sword Art Online 2 as I did in Sword Art Online 1. I felt like the first arc was really strong, and then the second arc is kind of disappointing following up the first arc. And honestly, it's kind of hilarious because it mirrors the first season almost verbatim, minus an episode. Sword Art Online Season 1 ran 25 episodes. Sword Art Online 2 runs 24 episodes, but even contained within that, the first arc of Sword Art Online 2 takes 14 episodes. The last arc takes 10 episodes, kind of mirroring the 15 and 10 shown in the first season. The first arc is the Gun Gale Online arc, which I really liked, and the second arc is like the new Eingrad arc, which was not as good. And it really just felt like a filler 10 episode just because they couldn't come up with something else for the last 10 episodes. And honestly, I really wish that they just took the full 24 and did one arc in Gun Gale Online, because that world is really interesting. There's something, like, to me that's really like there, but it's just like they explore Gun Gale Online so sparsely that I feel like I just kind of missed out and was disappointed. I was like, I wanted to see more of Gun Gale Online, and I just did not get that. Like, I wanted to see more of this like online PvP first-person shooter world that they're displaying in Gun Gale, because that's kind of different from what Alfheim and Eingrad display with their fantasy settings, but it only is 14 episodes, and pretty much that's it. And it doesn't even show like the bigger picture of like the actual world of Gun Gale Online, because it pretty much is just showing the tournament known as the Bullet of Bullets, and you only really see the Battle Royale tournament and none of the real actual Gun Gale Online world, which is really disappointing. I know that there's the alternate like 12 episode Sword Art Online story known as Gun Gale Online that I'm watching currently that maybe will build a bit more on Gun Gale Online, but for like the main actual season arc for Sword Art Online 2 and Gun Gale Online, it really just misses the mark for like world building. I know that Fatal Bullet exists, the Sword Art Online game, which I plan to play, but they should just built the world of Gun Gale Online Online in 24 episodes instead of doing a filler arc for 10 episodes. But the first 14 episodes span the world of Gun Gale Online, and it pretty much revolves around Kirito going into the world of Gun Gale Online to try and figure out a mystery of a man known as Death Gun, related to incidences of people being shot in the game and dying in real life. Kind of like the arc of Eingrad in the first season of Sword Art Online. People are dying in the game and then dying in real life, and that's intriguing. It adds that sense of threat in that was kind of missing from the Alfheim arc in the first season back in. Like, there's an actual legitimate threat of dying in the game, and the way they actually reveal how it's happening is really cool. And so I really like the first arc, like Gun Gale Online. I really like that arc. I just feel like I wish it was longer for more world building instead of being like as short as it is, because that's just kind of disappointing. But the way it's done is really, really well. That sense of threat of like actually dying in the game if you're shot by a death gun is really cool, and the way they explain it is really cool as well. So Gun Gale Online is a really good arc. The way they explain it, everything, like the actual like re-edited in threat of like dying in game and dying in real life. It's a really good arc. I just wish it was built up more because it just feels really short. It just dives right into the battle royale bullet of bullets scenario, but it doesn't really actually build the world of Gun Gale Online up any, which is kind of disappointing. But it still is a really good arc, and I really like the Gun Gale Online arc. Now that spans 14 episodes and it's really enjoyable, but the last 10 episodes are kind of based in the new Eingrad arc, also kind of mixed with Alfheim for 4 episodes, which is really just the last 10 episodes are kind of disappointing filler. It's more based around Asuna in the last 10 episodes, which I have absolutely no problem with. I like Asuna as a character, so that's not even an issue, but the fact that it's just more filler than anything else, and it really doesn't feel like it ever builds to anything overarching in the Sword Art Online universe, is just kind of disappointing. It doesn't do much for the series. I mean, you get some character development, but you really don't get anything else outside of really just character development for the second arc, and that's just really disappointing. That being said, I believe I enjoyed it more than I did the original Alfheim arc in the first season of Sword Art, but I can't say for sure. Maybe it was a bit more enjoyable. I mean, the animation and everything and the flashiness was still nice, but there was something missing, and it's just really that sense of progression. The sense of progression is just really missing without anything really going on. It just kind of just feels like filler crap that I really was just not really all that paying attention to, because it was just kind of like filler. I mean, the arc really doesn't go anywhere. I mean, I can't really explain it good in words because it's just filler content for 10 episodes. It's just kind of disappointing, and honestly, I wish like they took those 10 episodes and really just built the world of Gun Gale Online for 24 episodes instead, because honestly that just would have been a lot better than a filler arc that really just does nothing for the show or the universe or anyone really. The only thing that really happens in the new Eingrad arc is that Asuna gets a little bit of character building, and that's pretty much it though. Not much else happens. But in conclusion, my opinion on Sword Art Online 2 is that I really enjoyed watching it, but I feel annoyed almost that it just exhibits the same issues that the first season had, like almost verbatim. I really feel like my complaints with the first season are just ever so present in the second season that I'm just annoyed. I just really wish that they fix the issues in Sword Art Alicization, hopefully, and just have a really solid arc, because honestly having like a really solid arc and then having a filler 10 episodes is kind of just annoying, really, especially since they can do more with those 10 episodes than they do. They don't have to have these filler arcs. They can actually go somewhere with those 10 episodes and build something. I'll say that this time around the second arc is way more filler than the first time around, at least in Sword Art Online. The Alfheim arc isn't as filler because there's actually a direction with Kirito playing kind of the hero to rescue Asuna from Alfheim, but in the second arc of Sword Art Online 2, it just feels like pure filler because there really is no risk and it really just doesn't go anywhere. But nonetheless, I felt like Sword Art Online 2 was worth my time watching, and if you enjoyed the first season of Sword Art Online, honestly you're going to enjoy watching it too. Despite it feeling kind of hollow for the last 10 episodes, the first 14 episodes are absolutely solid and absolutely worth watching. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you. Stay chill.